Hi there. Oh, a bit out of breath, I don't know why. My little dog is looking at me. He's been poorly Buster, haven't you? Really poorly. He was really off colour yesterday, he kept being sick. So he's not had anything yet to eat today. And he's looking at me very pathetically. And he's just not himself, he's just curling up in his basket. Before the other dogs went home, Sky had a tummy day or two as well. But, and he was looking so lovely, you know, because he had his bath on Saturday. The Dial a Dog Wash lady came. And he got all nice and spruced up, and he came lively jumping in because he loves having his bath. It's a hydro massage and he loves it. And then he started to be sick. It's nothing to do with the two things that linked. So there's nothing that the Dial a Dog Wash did wrong. It's not linked at all. I just think it's something he ate. Anyway, I've been having well, not a good time. I hate confrontation, as you probably know, but I had to confront my neighbour next door. She's got a young child, well, she's got two actually, but one of them wakes up every single night. He has done for the last 12 months. And he cries and he cries and he screams and he cries for his mummy and he sobs, and it goes on for half an hour, 3/4 of an hour every single night. Anyway, the night before last, it was just like the last straw. I was like ripping my hair out because he was screaming at the top of his voice. So I went and I said, look, I'm not being funny. I said, I've put up with this for a year near enough now. I said, is there something wrong with your child? I said, she said, oh, he's got chicken pox. I said, no. I said, has he got something else wrong with him? So she says, why? I said, well, why does he scream like he does? And she goes, oh, well, he's got acid reflux. I said, yeah, my kiddie had that as well. I said, but, you know, you deal with it with medication, don't you? Prop the bed up on bricks and do things like that with it. She says, oh, I was in with him when he was screaming. I said, no, I'm sorry, but you weren't. I said, I would have heard you. I mean, my walls are like tissue paper, believe me. This is why it's so annoying, really. And I don't want you thinking I'm being a moany old bugger, because I've been putting up with this for 12 months. And while my son and daughter-in-law have been here, he's kept them awake every single night with his screaming. And she just said, well, what do you want me to do about it? I said, well, you could try going in and comforting him. She said, I'm in there with him. I said, no, you're not. I said, if you were in there with him, I said, he wouldn't be screaming for his mummy at the top of his lungs. And banging on his cot and banging whatever it is he's got his bed. Banging it, getting absolutely distressed. It isn't so much the noise factor that's getting to me, it's the fact he's getting so upset. And it's hard when you've been a mother to listen to a child absolutely sobbing in despair that mummy doesn't come, you know. Anyway, she said, well, we're thinking of moving anyway, so I'm thinking, oh, please. I've never had good neighbours. I own my own property, but next door is rented. And I'm not being awful to anybody who rents property. People rent property all over the world and they're wonderful, wonderful tenants. But I just seem to get the other 1% living next door to me. I don't know whether the landlord doesn't vet them or what. But anyway, that's enough of me ranting, but that explains why I've been so sleepy, because I get disturbed every night. Being so sleepy caused that to happen. Luckily, I'd just, well, cast on, chained on, whatever you want to call it, a cardigan. And I was having a cup of coffee, and I actually nodded off with a hot cup of coffee in my hand. And it splurged all over me, straight down me, and all down my ball of cotton. Fortunately, I've got plenty of it, because I'm starting a cardigan in order. And fortunately, I've got plenty more of it, but with cotton, it's just absorbed the coffee. Whether or not it will come off, I don't know. Hopefully it will. Yeah. So what am I doing at the moment? Well, I actually made 2 cat hats. Cat hats, not for a cat, but cat hats. For the young lass down the road, she wanted cat or kitten hats. And I gave them to her yesterday and I forgot all about taking a photo. So, one was purple and it had proper ears that came up. And the other one was just like a square and you sewed across it. But it didn't look very ears, so she's going to gather it up or put a ribbon, you know, on each of the gathers to make them be more prominent as ears. And I also gave her a hat that I made about 3-4 years back. It was a double-sided, you know, those hats with the ear flaps on and the plaits that come down. It was really, really thick. I knitted it, but I knitted it and crocheted it. One side's knitted, one side's crochet. Years back when I used to walk my dog and it was really cold and snowy. And it was never being worn because I don't really need a hat like that anymore. Maybe if I was on my scooter. But to be quite honest, it turned out a bit big and I've only got a little head. And it sort of kept falling down over my eyes. So if I was on my scooter, I wouldn't be able to see where I was going anyway. Well, I've just been watching Margaret, the Sheepy She Sharing video. She's been doing one about the, well, I'm catching up actually. It's not the one she's just done, it's the one she did about a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. About the square needles, you know, like the cubics. And I was just wondering, I thought, I wonder if I could knit with it, because you know I don't knit much at all because I can't, I have terrible trouble with tension, gripping the needles. But the ones that she had were the circular ones, but I can't knit with circulars at all. I've mentioned before that when I knit on sets of 4 needles, socks and things, that I have to use what they call a macking in Scotland. And people have said, oh, what do you mean, what do you mean? Well, this is it, right? This is a macking, or a knitting belt. This one came from a firm, I think they're called Jameson and Smith. They're in the Shetland Isles anyway. And they were quite surprised when I asked for it because they said normally only Scottish ladies ask for one of these. It fits round your waist and it fits to one side. And you put your sock needle in it and it holds it rigid so that you can actually, whoops, it doesn't fit up here, I'm just using it here, so you can knit like that. Because my problem is I cannot knit like that with circular needles and everything wiggling and waggling about. I have to anchor one needle under my arm when I knit. That's the only way that I can knit. But I was still wondering about those cubic needles because maybe, you know, I don't mean the circular ones, I mean maybe if I had, you know, the set of 4 ones or a pair, maybe I could knit a bit better, you know, because I'm having terrible problems. I'm having terrible problems with pins and needles again. Now I've had my carpal tunnel done, you can't see it, there's no scar, but I've had my carpal tunnel done. But I'm getting pins and needles that are going all the way down my arm. So I think I'm either trapping a nerve at the back of my neck or I'm trapping a nerve in my elbow. But either way it's not helping with my knitting. Right, what have I got to tell you today? Well, I'm crocheting at the moment and I've no idea what it's going to turn out to be, except it's probably going to be a jacket of some description. That is not the back, by the way, that is all of it. It's kind of like a creamy colour with little speckles of brown in it. Because I don't know what I'm making, you know, it's still a design in my head at the minute. I've started both the sleeves, so I've got the sleeves partly done. Just so that I know where I stand, you know, with the yarn. So this is how it's going to be. But I haven't decided whether it's going to be V-neck, buttoned up, collar, or what it's going to be. It all depends on how much of the yarn I've got and how it pans out. Right, well, I actually had a lovely gift from my friend Jackie. She sent me a box with some yarn in it. There was 3 balls of this one, which is James C. Brett, who I love James C. Brett. And it's called Top Value. There's 3 balls of those. It's sort of like a mink shade if it's not showing up on the camera. And there's, let me see how many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of these, which are Stylecraft. I think Mel Hall also likes the Stylecraft. Maybe, I don't know whether it's Hayley. I know quite a few people like the Stylecraft. This is Stylecraft Vision. And they don't have names, they just have... oh yes, this one does, I beg your pardon. It's blue something or other. Really must wear my glasses. I think it's blue gloss or blue grass, could be, whatever. Anyway, it's very nice. Don't know what I'm going to make with it. But also in the package, which Jackie said was a present from her son Daniel. Daniel, as you know, has got brittle bones, and his son, the Peter. And Daniel has fallen again and broken his elbow. So sorry, Daniel, if you're watching. I hope your elbow gets better very soon. He was only going out to the car to meet his daddy, and he had a little plastic bottle of water in his hand or something, and he tripped up. Anyway, he's in a cast. He's got to go to the hospital again, poor little sausage. Anyway, according to Jackie, I'm going to sneeze in a minute, oh, excuse me. Daniel insisted that she sent me this. Oh, excuse me. That's my allergies. Oh, dearie me. But she sent me this from Daniel. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous? It's got all glittery bits in it. I don't know if you can see it on it. Oh, excuse me. Isn't it lovely? I crochet and I knit a lot, so because of that, hardly anybody ever sends me anything that's like hand done or handmade. I suppose they think it's like Coles to Newcastle. You know, that they don't want to send me anything that I could make myself, but it's so nice when people do. Because it's really, I don't know, it's just such a nice gesture that there are always things that you wouldn't have thought about making yourself, you know. I mean, I love these shawls and that, but I would have never thought. And I mean, I think she's done every row a different colour. I don't know whether it's, I don't think it's a multicoloured one. I think it's all, every row is different. Can't make my mind up, but I think it is. But I mean, look at that, isn't it gorgeous? So thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. I hope your elbow gets better very, very soon. Oh dear, I'm going to have to go because I need to blow my nose down. Well, I've just got a message today saying the family have made it back home. Well, back home to their home in Spain. They went the long way around. They went and visited some friends in Holland and then drove back down through. So that's why it's took them so long to get back home. Because they have to drive because they take the dogs back. Talking about dogs, Gigi was very naughty yesterday. Very naughty boy he was. Not naughty in the way you're thinking, but he was a naughty little boy. He came round because he was having his toenails cut with Darla dog wash, so his daddy brought him round. Had his toenails clipped and then off they went because they were going for a walk. And as fortune would have it, I was sitting in my chair by the bay window. Well, I sees little Gigi coming trotting round the corner about half an hour later. So I was expecting, you know, his daddy to walk behind him, and I thought, hang on a minute, he's not got his lead on. So I goes, opens the door, and he comes trotting in, and he's really pleased with himself, really happy. Jumps on the thing, comes and sits, wants to sit on my knee. So I thought, something's not right here. So I tried to ring his daddy, and I didn't get an answer, so I sent him a text message saying, have you missing a dog, because I've got him, because I knew he'd be going frantic. And eventually I got through on the phone, and he said, where is he? And I said, he said, a little monkey. And he'd come all the way down from the woodland where he was being taken for a walk. He'd walked all the way down, crossed the road, come up all the way and come to me. So he's in the doghouse a bit because that's naughty. He shouldn't do that, especially on his own because he's so little. He could have got run over, you know, anything could have happened to him on the way. But he was looking so pleased with himself, like, hey, hey, I'm here again. Ooh. I wasn't glad to see him, but I was very glad to see him. And I'm also very, very glad that he came to me and not wandered off and got himself lost, because we would have all been heartbroken if he'd got lost. Because not everyone is honest, are they? You know, and a little chihuahua like that is quite a valuable little asset. So I think he'll be being walked on his lead from now on. His freedom will be curtailed. He's got one of them expanded leads anyway, so he can go quite a long way without, you know, being pulled up sharp. So I think that's all I've got to say, except my poor little Buster. He's still not well. He's been sleeping and sleeping. And his little back legs they're not good. They go, and he sits down very suddenly sometimes, you know, so I think I'm going to have to face reality in a short time. But at the moment, I know he was sick yesterday, but he's not sick because he's old and sick. He was just sick for something he'd eaten. And I just don't want to face that fact, just not yet. He's happy at the moment and he's looking quite healthy at the moment, so we'll see how he goes. I mean, I'm not one of these who would hang on to him just because I want to hang on to him. If I can see he's in pain or I can see he's deteriorating rapidly, then I will make that awful decision. I know a lot of you have had to face it and it's not easy, is it? I mean, he's almost 15 now and we've had him in the family for about 13 and a bit of them, 14 of them. Even though I haven't had him personally for all of those length of years, he's been in the family, you know, per se. And that's not Percy, by the way, that's per se. I don't know why I keep saying that, I've just got this passion for saying per se. As my mother used to say, if you've got an education, why don't you use it with nice long names and, you know, long words. If you know how to use them, use them. I used to always feel embarrassed because there were certain people I used to be friendly with, you know, they used to say, oh, get you, big long words, what's up with you? So I had to dumb down, you know, for years I had to dumb down, not say anything that was a bit bigger. You know, things like perspicacity, like that. People are like, who? What? What are you saying? But I was brought up in a family that used, I mean, my mother, she was quite educated in one way, but she wasn't allowed to go to grammar school because she was one of 16. So A, they couldn't afford it, and B, they didn't want her to be singled out if the rest of the family didn't pass and couldn't go. So she was always a thwarted scholar, my mother. So she was quite well educated in the ways of life. My brother, of course, was quite brilliant. He went on to be a university lecturer and he's got more letters behind his name than would fit on you know, those cards, what they call business cards. He's got more letters. So I was brought up in a household that read and, you know, commonly used like long words and whatever. When I got married, you know, my ex-husband, he just didn't understand half of what I was saying half the time, so I had to dumb down a bit for him. So I'm trying to introduce my vocabulary back into my normal, everyday language. As you say, if you've got it, you use it. So I must admit that some of the words I'm thinking of using, I think I better look that one up, make sure I'm putting it in the right context here. Anyway, hopefully, Sue's coming this week. So I shall get my camera charged up, ready, just in case she comes. Now when she came last time, she was working on a few things and she did say she was going to bring them, so I hope she's actually finished a few things. And as for finishing a few things, I have sent everybody's parcel off that were giveaways. I must admit I nearly had to have a lie down in the post office with the cost of them all. And then I came all the way home and I found one that I'd forgotten, still here. Luckily it's one for the UK, so hopefully she won't notice that she's not got hers at the same time as everybody else. And then I've got to pack up one of my orders and get that sent off, 2 shawls that I've made for Jackie. So I've got those to post off tomorrow. Got a lot of things to do tomorrow. Busy, busy girl. So I'd better get on with my crocheting because it's 10 to 4. It'll soon be time to put my chicken in for my dinner. As far as my dieting is concerned, I don't think I'm going to mention it because I put on about 3 pounds this week, so I'm not feeling very happy with myself. But I have this dreadful habit. When I'm feeling depressed, I either eat or I buy yarn. And unfortunately this week I seem to have done both. Can't show you what I've bought because it's not arrived yet. So that's not good, is it? That's very naughty. Failed on 2 counts. Failed on my yarn ban. Failed on my diet. Ah well, tomorrow is Monday and Monday's the start of another week. I mean, I shouldn't have bought wool because I forgot to tell you. I told you the tumble dryer had broken, didn't I? I had to buy a new tumble dryer. the microwave packed up on me, so I had to buy a new microwave. And then the phone stopped ringing. So when I was having a phone call, if I wasn't in the room and saw the light flashing, I didn't know I was having a phone call. So that was great, so I had to go out and get new phones. Because they were all linked together, so I had to get a new set, all linked together. So that was my 3 things, hopefully, electrical, that went all at once. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm waffling now. I'm waffling, so I'm going to waffle off and get my chicken ready to go into the oven in about half an hour. So bye all. Hope you're having a great weekend. Bye.